الله أكبر الله أكبر.
القسم الأول حفظ الدين. What's حفظ الدين? Protection of the deen. And القسم الثاني المقصد الثاني هو حفظ النفس. It's correct. المقصد الثاني إذن حفظ النفس قال تعالى, and he gives the ayat, and then he go to المقصد الثالث is حفظ العرض, which is النسل. النسل or the العرض is the we'll talk about and then المقصد الرابع حفظ المال, and المقصد in this order المقصد الخامس is حفظ العقل.
So the translation in this slide for earth is wrong. It should be nasl.
No, العرض is correct here, but I'm going to give you why this difference of the order.
ما معنى earth?
العرض is the الأعراض including the nasl, including the children, including the العرض is the dignity related to children, to spouses, all of they call it all of this العرض. What's the word in it? Say it again. Lineage is in nasl, but what's the word there?
Could be honor.
Honor could be the honor. Could be the honor, but it's. Let me find the translation.
It's not nasl.
Nasl is the lineage. Yes. Part of Arab is more. For example, protecting the children and the nasl is one of the Arab, but also protecting the honor, the dignity of the people. It's required there. Let me. So there is ترتيب المقاصد الضرورية. Here they said there is two order between the people. They said the people in the early scholars they put an order, and later on they changed the order. Some of the scholars, and here he said he said there is no big difference between most of the scholars in the maqasid al-sharia. Because the order can make a really difference.
Because the order makes the priority difference, so the whole ruling changes.
Yeah.
If you make the mal first and you make the deen the last,
yeah,
then you have a problem.
Yeah. So this is the.
Which one is going to be the last one? We have deen and nafs and mal.
He said لا خلاف بين علماء الفقه والأصول. There is no different أن أحكام الشريعة الإسلامية معللة. That the ruling of the شريعة الإسلام has علة. علة has a reason. It's not just parachute come and this is the ruling. No, the ruling in Islam has علة and has a purpose. And اتفقوا على أن أحكامها, and they agree among them, the scholars, تهدف إلى تحقيق مصلحة العباد. And there is no doubt that all the scholars they believe that the Sharia and the ruling, the purpose is to produce the best for the people. And قال and he brought hadith to support. قال وقد اتفقوا على أن الأحكام تهدف إلى تحقيق مصلحة العباد في العاجل والآجل. In the soon and the later on. It's not only sometimes the manfa'a, the benefit can be something not very beneficial now but beneficial in the long term, and sometimes you see something beneficial but it's beneficial for the short term. For the Sharia the benefit is for the long term. Sometimes something look harmful but it's in long term it's beneficial. This is when the difference is, how to see the benefit and how to evaluate it. قال الشاطبي, one of the scholars of مقاصد, قال والمعتمد أن إذا ما استقرأنا من الشريعة أنها وضعت للمصالح. That the Sharia, base of what we see from the purpose of the Sharia, it's been there for the benefit of the people. And this is the Shatibi, long time ago. He lived in 790 Hijri. And Tirmidhi, one of the narrators of the hadith, يقن أن الله تعالى لم ينبه على شيء ولا أمر بشيء إلا بالحكمة. Allah, He never asked for something to do or something not to do, only there is wisdom behind it. So this is clear for the scholars. So this is why here قال والنص التي تدل على التعليل. There is many texts in the Quran that indicate that every hukum has illah, has a purpose, has a reason. Because if we say no reason, the Sharia will be arbitrary. Why this hukum? But every hukum for Sharia has a purpose, and we have to look for it, and we have to find it, and understand it, because sometimes we lose this purpose. قال رب سبحانه وتعالى رسلا مبشرين ومنذرين لئلا يكون للناس على الله حجة بعد الرسل وكان الله عزيزا حكيما. And he said وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين, we send you but mercy to the mankind. And he said إن الصلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر, the prayer, it will protect you from the fahsha and from the munkar. So inshallah we'll go pray and we'll come back, inshallah, finish this. This is a study about why the order is very important and what order we're going to follow, inshallah. Protecting the deen and not protecting everything. So in the end, somebody said, I'm going to do a religious practice, but this has a risk that maybe mentally I'm going to be not well. So we said, no, we're going to go to protect your intellect, because you cannot protect your wealth without protecting your intellect. You cannot protecting your nasib or arad here if you don't protect your aql. And there is the idea, there is takamul. Takamul, what's the word for takamul? Integral? Takamul? It's completing each other. So the idea here, don't look at them as one after the other, but look at them as whole, all of them as one. Protecting all of them as one. He said, the person who wrote this study, قال ومن حيث اعتبار حفظ المكلف, the حفظ means protection, وعدمه إلى مقاصد أصلية ومقاصد تابعة. قالوا من حيث القطع والظن إلى مقاصد قطعية ومقاصد ظنية. We're going to go to another. I'm looking for his order. This order. This is exactly what we need. قال ويوجد اختلاف عند المتقدمين. المتقدمين are the early scholars. They have a different opinion about المتقدمين في ضرورة النسب. قالوا بعضهم سماهم نسب, وبعضهم سماه كما قال الجويني, قالوا بعضهم سماه العرض كما فعل القرافي. He said they have a different names about the عرض and what we call it about the nasib. So they have a different opinion about it. Some of them consider the عرض include the nasib. Nasib is the lineage, and the عرض is the dignity and of the person. So some of them they use a different. So it's early different opinion among the scholars about what you call this. We go inshallah back to this. كما يوجد خلاف لفظي أو شكلي في اعتبار العرض مقصد سادس. Some of them they say the عرض it's a 6 maqsad. It's not, they put the nasl separate from the irth. And this is, I think this is make a lot of sense. Because protecting the nasl was the lineage, and the irth is, there is some separation between the two. It's the dignity of the person. Yes.
When you got into it last time, it was
Nasl.
Al-Izza. Izza?
Is it?
It wasn't Al-Izza.
No, nasl.
No, Nasl and Izza.
The 6th
The
one?
honor,
It's the irth, the honor. The honor here.
With the name they had in the...
Yeah,
with the-
yeah. So we can talk about this point. Are they one or both? But both of them is required to be protect the dignity of the people. This is why they added here as an irth, and they put instead of this is protection of the lineage or a nasl.
Is the order of priority order?
This is what we discussed from last week. This is one of the order that they choose by the person who wrote this, and I wanted today to discuss the order. And first of all, there is two objective or two approach for this. One of them, they say there is no order of priority because all of them they complete and they make one solid. So you put them all in consideration. I mean, they are in parallel. They are not in one above the other. And the other one, and we talk now about the first different is the concept of irth as a maqsad. Ibn Taymiyyah, he add another maqsad. He call it maqsad al-adl, the justice. Have to be served always the justice. Ibn Taymiyyah, he add. So there is a history of this maqasid. It's not Quran, it's not hadith, it's ijtihad of the ulama. So somebody said, if you say protect the deen, means protect the justice is one of the maqsad of the deen. So now Ibn Taymiyyah has said we have to put it separate to emphasize the concept of justice, that it's ضروري من ضروريات الدين. Yes.
That's like the Bill of Rights.
Yes.
They protested and said we don't need it because we know we all have rights. And the other side said no, write them down.
Write it down so to emphasis and make it sure. This is what Ibn Taymiyyah said. Al-Adl is one of the main maqasid of the Sharia and they have to be there. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Who was the first? من أول ما وضع هذه الأصل؟
The first one is we said the first one. Before Al-Razi, I just want to mention the name. I'm sorry? Shatibi later on. But the first one who mentioned the maqasid, the first of all they used to call it وجدير بالذكر. Before Shatibi, I'm sorry. As a terminology, before terminology, it was without doubt Imam Shafi'i, one of the earlier people who mentioned this structure. But it was there even in the time of Ali ibn Abi Talib and Umar ibn Khattab and the Khulafa, but they don't call it maqasid. But when they think in their mind, they have the concept of the maqsad present there. This is why when we look to the ahkam without maqsad, and the debate happened in the time of Umar ibn Khattab, the big debate. It happened about many new things happen, and the concept of the priority of the maqsad is there. So Ibn Taymiyyah, let's go back to this. Why Ibn Taymiyyah I'm sorry, the phone is okay. He said said another way to look to the maqasid, it's to look the maqasid from the angle of the mukallaf and from the angle we call it shara, from the shara. And he said ومن حيث العموم والخصوص مقاصد عامة and مقاصد خاصة. قال مقاصد عامة وكلية ومقاصد خاصة وجزئية. So these are the maqasid kulliya, means the general maqasid. Again, when we study this, we keep in our mind the question of the order, that we put what's first. This is what we mentioned before the salat. The aql before the mal, or the mal before the aql. And this is also one of the discussion. The other discussion about the ird and nasl. Are they two different maqasid or one of them? This is why, and does the justice can be one of them, or it's included in the protecting the deen? This is the main point of the debate, early debate about the maqasid. Yes.
Why is life called nafs? Why is it called hayat? Nafs is bad. And
nafs is the reason of the hayat is a nafs.
Well, the breath, so it's breath, not ego.
No, not ego. No. The breath.
Soul.
نفس الزيون.
Not soul. No, not soul. Soul is a ruh. Nafs in Quran is the breath, and the breath is the life.
Right.
So when we say nafs, we say life. This is why the death, it's khuruj al-nafs or khuruj al-ruh, or both of them. And we talked about this. Why I mentioned this discussion?
There is three kinds of nafs. مطمئنة, الأمارة, واللوامة.
No.
But hayat is hayat for everybody.
No. We have two nafs. It's not the three nafs here. And nafs al-lawama, it's the self, in meaning, no, but we talk about the nafs here as the source of the hayat, of a life. Because nafs used in Quran in many contexts.
It
If we
depends
say-
what it falls in the sentence.
In the context, yes.
In the
The context that we talk about it
personality,
here,
could be-
it's not the nafs al-lawama and the nafs al-mutma'inna. No, you talk about the nafs as the life. Life. This is why we have to be very careful from the concept. The nafs here, the self, sometimes but it's not the self. Nafs here as the life that Allah put it, and from it comes the breath. This is why the context of the nafs. Why we mention this discussion today? To tell you that the question of the maqasid is very deep. And inshallah, in advanced levels, you go, if somebody wants to study more about it, you go back to the original, to the discussion, and maybe you end up with your own 5 maqasid or 6 or 7 maybe maqasid. So how the ulama, in every time, they have interpretation and understanding of this maqasid. But all of them, there is no debate about protecting the deen, protecting the nafs, protecting al-aql, protecting al-mal, protecting al-ird or al-nasl. All of them, they agree about it. But inshallah, if anybody is interested, we can go further about the order, what's first, what's not first. Can we add other maqasid or not? Some contemporary scholars, they add some maqasid. They say this is of daruriyat. So what to do? We have daruriyat, we have, and what's the second level? Hajiyat. And we have, what's the third level? Tahsiniyat. So here sometimes I say that the point of the hajiyat, it can be daruriyat, because of the change of the time, change of the, and this will fit. So the ulama, they can add some daruriyat. They cannot take one of the daruriyat, but they can add. Because people, they don't care about justice, for example, and there is a lot of dhulm, and the justice being put in the back here. No, they said justice is daruriyat. We have to emphasize this. So usually what to do, we don't take from the main one and say, oh, protecting nafs is not important. Now we have nuclear weapons, nafs die every day, so we don't have issue. Nafs is not as important as in the time of Rasul Sallallahu Rasul all his life fighting and wars less than it's 170 people get killed. You know, all in general, or 190. Now in one war you can kill 250,000. In the second war, 70 million people get killed. So the nafs is not, hifz al-nafs is not priority. No. This is a foundation that you cannot debate about this daruriyah. But sometimes you bring something from here and you can add it to daruriyah.
But the order is definitely debatable.
Yeah. No problem. My opinion, I believe that they go parallel. It's not about the order of importance. All of them important, but you have to look at them in parallel. So sometimes one led to the others. Again, why they put this? They put it for a reason. They said if protecting your deen sometimes required to give your nafs, even though in Islam you have to protect. Rasul ﷺ always planning to don't lose in the battles or in the, he wasn't excited for people to send them to death. He wasn't. He was caring about even his planning and thoughts. It was big for one nafs to be to be lost. So, but sometimes you have no choice. This is why it comes in this order. So, but when we look at them parallel, sometimes people, for example, make fun of the Prophet ﷺ, make cartoon. People, they come here, and it seems they have two ways to look at it. A rush, you say, oh, we have to protect the deen, and we have to even sacrifice the nafs for that. As a scholar said, the deen is protected. This cartoon, they are not going to, it's true, but it's not the damage that we're going to lose our deen because of this. So we don't sacrifice our nafs. Only when we know that the deen is going to go. As Rasul said in Badr, in his prayer, he said, in Tuhlak, if this group will lose today, فَلَن تُعْبَدَ فِي الْأَرْضِ أَبَدًا. Means, oh Allah, nobody's going to worship you with the proper worship today. So this is why in Badr, we have no other option. It's surrounding us. If we lose Badr today, if we don't give everything, including our anfus today, this can destroy the deen completely. But if somebody made cartoon or somebody make fun of this, we make assessment. Does this going to destroy our religion or our this? It's now the mujtahid come and make the decision here. But if you look at them in parallel, you don't trash this or this. It's not, see what I mean or not? Because if you look at them as blocks, and this is priority, somebody touch my deen, that's it. We have to lose your nafs because of this. It's not. Look at them in parallel, switch this way, and of course put your deen in your right, and you're going to see all of them parallel, but again, you don't want to lose anything, and you make your judgment. The other things is can we add sometimes without doubt? Imam Ibn Taymiyyah, because in his time there is a lot of dhulm. It's become the people accepting the dhulm. It's as okay. We have Malik. You have this. You have the environment in time of Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah. It's environment of dhulm, and people start accepting dhulm as a reality. He said, no, you cannot be a true believer and you accept the aggression and the dhulm. That's why he said we have to add one maqsad and daruri to remind people this is the foundation of your deen, that you don't accept dhulm, you don't accept aggression, and that this is how it works. But again, these are one of the orders of the daruriyat al-khams, وهي حفظ الدين, حفظ النفس, حفظ العرض, حفظ العقل, and حفظ المال, and this is one of the orders that we give it today.
So in summary, you're saying they have to go together.
Without doubt.
Without doubt, they have to always, don't just take one or two and apply.
You cannot come here and stop. They say, I don't go until I fulfill this.
No, you did mention about justice, which I think might be able to go with the part of the deen. But what about hukm?
What do you mean hukm?
The adl.
العدل, نعم.
Adl is whatever.
justice العدل as ضروري. So العدل is, you know why debate about عدل is very important. Some of the scholars in the time of Ibn Taymiyyah, they start debating the concept of الحاكم الظالم but who protect the deen. As long as the hakim doesn't touch the deen, حامي حمى الحرمين, or the protector of the deen, they call himself, as long as everything else is permissible. So he can go and make dhulm and take the rights of the people, Muslim or non-Muslims, and as long as he said, I don't touch the deen, that it's okay.
Is the deen around it?
This is what I think will be a circle. You can even change now the shape. Hifz al-Din is, all of this is Hifz al-Din. I think I agree with very, very much. Deen, all of this is Hifz al-Din. In the end, protecting the everything is this is the Deen. Deen came to protect your nafs. So we can put it around. We can make some ijtihad. Yes.
Sheikh, if it's possible on each one
Example, yeah.
on each one.
For example, حفظ الدين. One of the usus الدين, it's to the شعائر, إقامة الشعائر. For example, if we have somebody said, الحجاج ibn Yusuf, he entered Kaaba, he destroyed the Kaaba, and he came with intention, or don't talk about Hajjaj ibn Yusuf, talk about Abrah al-Habashi. He came to destroy the Kaaba. See what Abdul Muttalib did. It's very important. If destroying the Kaaba is going to lead to destruction of the deen. If the people said, we're going to destroy the Kaaba, and this is going to happen, Rasulullah is going to happen, and they already happened. Destroying the Kaaba. If people are not going to worship Allah anymore after the destruction of the Kaaba. If somebody saw this one, so everybody have to protect the Kaaba. Even if the fatwa will be, protect the Kaaba even if you get killed. Today you have to protect the Kaaba. Right. Even though there is hadith. They said, the blood of the believers more important for Allah than the Kaaba itself. You're killing an innocent person. It's worse than destroying the Kaaba. This is to show that its concept of the deen is very, very important to understand. When Rasulullah said, if he give you choice, destroy the Kaaba or kill an innocent Muslim person.
Do you mean it's better to destroy the Kaaba?
Rasulullah said, he said, لهدم الكعبة أهون على الله من قتل نفس مسلم. Allah will be angry at you to kill an innocent person than to destroy the Kaaba. If you have choice, doesn't mean destroy the Kaaba, it's something good. But to see the priority here, Kaaba we can build it again, and they did it. Hajjaj ibn Yusuf, he ضرب الكعبة بالمنجنيق, and he destroyed the Kaaba. He did. Abdullah ibn Zubayr was there, and you know, he destroyed the Kaaba, literally destroyed and put fire on the Kaaba. Alhamdulillah, we built the Kaaba, and we see here when we say the concept of the Hifz al-Din. Hifz al-Nafs, of course, you protect your soul. Anything that's going to lead to a death of an innocent soul, it's not permissible. Or any for example, practice that will lead to a death. This is why we said, وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ بِكُمْ رَحِيمًا. All of this has ayat, of course. It's important. So anything that's going to lead to your death, it's not permissible to the death. 3, حفظ العرض. العرض is two concepts, nasl or عرض. Nasl is protecting the lineage or the dignity of the person. If a person is going to lose his or her, the honor of the respect of the people, torture, for example, is ta'dhib, is one of the يهين كرامة الإنسان. This is why Rasul he said haram ta'dib is torture is haram in Islam. Or التمثيل التمثيل after the fight, the Jahiliyyah, they used to go and they cut the ears and they do things to the body of the Rasul he said this is Jahiliyyah practice, is not. So respecting the ird can also الأعراض, it's don't encourage الفاحشة, spreading the fasad, corruption and akhlaq yeah.
So if it's a priority one over the other, right? Then you can see how people justify, like the government says, we're not supposed to torture, but someone has information that could potentially save more lives, right? Protection of the nerves. So then in that case, would torture be halal?
This is how they use it. The question here, is it going to lead for real to protecting the life or not? Because the Rasul look what happened at the time of Rasul. They were going for Syria. And the enemy, they are the other side. So they captured this man. Rasul he was praying. And Ali ibn Abi Talib started, and another Sahabi started interrogating the person. They ask him how many, the number. He say, I don't know. Or he give them number that is. So one of them, they push him or did something so he lied. He gave a number. And they say, okay, they took the number. So Rasul he finished the prayer. He said, when he said the truth, you reject it. When he lied at you, you are happy. I mean, the torture can give you what you're looking for. You have to be very careful that if there is method to if there is no necessity, this is need the fatwa of course, but in general you have to be very careful if this is going to help or not going to help. Example of al-aql, anything. No, you're right. Al-aql, anything that lead to for you lose your insanity. Anything. This is why khamr is haram. Because you're not any medication or anything that can lose to affect your insanity, make your in danger. So you have to put it. This is a priority to protect. And anything
could be part of protection of dignity, because ta'deeb, not only physical, but ta'deeb can be
mental and but also I'm talking about al-aql here. Without ta'deeb, without torture, without anything that put your reasoning or your insanity in danger. This is also, we have to protect. Nothing is permissible for that. And of course, in male, it's to protect the rights of the people to own. For example, you cannot make a law. We say we're going to do communism is the solution, and you take the rights of the people to own anything. It's not permissible. You cannot make law that the people cannot have their own milkiyah. I'm sorry.
No, what I was going to say, the way it's made is so beautiful, because the protection of deen is like an umbrella, and everything is underneath. And the example you gave about life, deen is order us to protect life. Like you give an example, which is exactly what deen says. So there are, in the way, it's like you open the deen and you find all this necessity inside. It's like an ingredient.
It's true. The question between male and aql, for example. هي حفظ المال and حفظ العقل. We have ayah in the Quran. ولا تؤتوا السفهاء أموالكم. Safih is a person who not mature enough to use the money in a proper way. Talk about mirath. This is the right of the person, young for age or even old, but somebody take the money and waste the money. Question come a lot. Some of the parents, they don't trust their children for their inheritance. So they say, I know my son, if I get the money, give him the money, he's going to waste it in 3 days. This guy, by experience, is safih. He cannot hold the money. He cannot control the money. Allah said in the Quran, don't give the sufaha amwalakum. And they say the money, even if they're right to get, but if the people, they behave a way that it's going to waste the mal, the judge has a right to, this is exception, because the safih is a person without aql. You can make a law, you said, okay, the law is very clear, that, but of course you need to prove, you need detail. This is how the mujtahid or the person who produced the laws think. He said, okay, we have priority حفظ العقل and حفظ المال. So حفظ المال is priority or حفظ العقل, and you look what's more important or the dignity, or you know, you put all of them in combination, and you see, if we're going to give the money to the safi, we're going to waste the money. We are wasting money. And protecting the money and protecting the wealth of the person, it's an obligation. But if we have a famine, and there is people who has a lot of money, Umar ibn Khattab, he did this. It's what was present for him. One time the zakat wasn't enough. He said, حديث الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم, إن في المال حق سوى الزكاة, or في المال حق سوى الزكاة. Umar ibn Khattab, he said, if the zakat is not enough, I take the money from the rich and help the poor until we don't have people who can die from hunger. You cannot say, oh, we have a law protecting the wealth. It's a right. It is my zakat money. It's halal money. But we have another important things. Your money is your money. Protecting your money is important. But protecting the life of the people is more important than yours. So what's the mujtahid say? You give a permission to the rulers or to the qadi that the people to pay more money because we have people are العسرة مثلا, and you take more, but العسرة is optional. But we talk about we talked about laws. We talked about laws. But we have to be very careful. We talked about this last week. You cannot pick and choose. Somebody in a corrupt system came and said, Islam guaranteed to me to own money. We have another question we ask you. This is why he said about justice. He said, من أين لك هذا? How did you own this first? I understand Islam give you a right to protect the obligation of the Muslim ruler is to protect the wealth of the people. But the question, من أين لك هذا? Umar ibn Khattab, he did that. He said, let me ask you, before you ask me to protect your money, let me ask you, how did you get your money? Did you get it fairly from halal, or you get it from bribery and from monopoly and get it from all these illegal ways? So this is why all of them, they go together. You cannot say no, حفظ المال or حفظ you cannot apply the ruling of the Sharia in a time that the people are hungry, they are hungry. That's why Umar al-Khattab, he said, we're not going to apply the ruling, the hadd of the Sariqa, because people, they don't have what to eat. You apply the hadd of the Sariqa when the people, they provide the minimum. الرجل وحاجته. This is what حاجة, the needs. And الرجل وبلاؤه after that. If the people, they steal because they are going to die of hunger, you cannot apply. Because the ruling came to stop the greed. Why the people steal? If they steal to become rich and rich. These are the purpose of the Sharia. It's not to apply this ruling on people hungry, they don't have what to eat. This is not the purpose, the maqsid. So when we understand this maqasid, and this is why this is a very, very critical and important to understand the deen of Islam. If we understand there is maqasid, and there is purpose, and there is ilal, reasons for every hukum, we cannot go forward. So we talked about this maqasid last week, and we explained everyone. We give everyone, there is example and ayat, and you can go further and encourage everybody, go study more about this maqasid and understand it well, inshallah. He gave here many debates, contemporary debates. This is very, among the great scholars for the last 100 years. Among the great fuqaha, it's about what's and this is one of the books, the study that went through all of this. We talk about the opinion of what's the debate happened among the first scholars. There is a debate about الأدلة على مراعاة وحصر الضروريات الخمس. What's the proof? What's the dalil that they have to put them in 5 or more? All the Sharia debate, deep debate. الاستقراء كدليل على حصر الضروريات. He used the methodology and what the Shatibi said, and he go there, proof from the Quran and the Sunnah, and go all through this proof and dalil, which is very deep discussion about it. For us, if we remember that there is 3, every hukum in Sharia has a classification based on the importance. Daruriyat and hajiyat and tahsiniyat. And the daruriyat that summarize in this 5, there is a debate among them, which is hifdhu, the protection of the deen, protection of the life, protection of the dignity, and could be protection of the lineage. I'd go with the dignity more, and protection of the intellect, al-aql, and protection of the property or al-mal. If we come with this is maqasid, and this is the highest in the chain. This is the highest level. You cannot start before this, because before this is the Sharia, before this is Quran and Sunnah that come from it. Yes.
When you say protection of life, doesn't that also mean protection of nasl?
Could be. This is one of the reasons that some people, they didn't put the lineage as part of this. They say protect the nafs. You're protecting, even though there is little bit difference here. You don't sacrifice the nasl for the mal, or you don't sacrifice. This is why it will be permissible to spend money if there is any way, if somebody doesn't give children.
It's also probably the way how the translation is, because life, hayat versus a nafs is totally different. It's really deep meaning with the nafs.
Nafs is, yeah.
So that's why the nasl might not be there.
No, the nasl here, it's come for example, having children is one of the questions. It's permissible to do. I'm sorry.
I'm saying continue of life.
Yeah, it's continue of life. You're right. You can look at it from this perspective. You can look at it as a form of life. This is why they didn't put it here. So this is ijtihad. I would respect this ijtihad without doubt, and we can without doubt take it and build on it. Keep in your mind there is some other opinion, but these are the daruriyat of the deen that have to be above every other ruling. And every ruling in Sharia have to respect this daruriyat al-khams, or we call them al-maqasid al-khams in Sharia. Yes.
I think each one is very rich in the
Oh, it needs.
Yeah.
You can just take the deen and details and give examples and really prove and the debate about it, and what's the deen, when is considered the deen, when is not. This is when the deen is in danger, when is not, and you go to under all of this. Yeah.
How did they originally derive these? Because from what I read, one of the authors said that, like, at least some formulation of the maqasid were based on the actions that had a hudud attached to them. So, like, with the stealing, then there's a hudud for it, that's protection of mal. With the zina, there's hudud to it, and that's protection of lineage. With the alcohol, so everything that had a hudud, that's what they used to determine at least some of them.
Yes. Without doubt, حد السرقة. What about the aql? There is no حد in drinking, alcohol. معنى العرض والنسل والنفس. Yeah. Well, without doubt, there is a hudud that it's related to.
So how did the other scholars come up with their list? Because I think that was just some scholars, right?
With
Like,
how they.
Some scholars came up with the maqasid
Based in the hudud, and it's based in reading all the Sharia, the life of the Prophet, Quran, Sunnah, the life of the Prophet, the ruling of the Khulafa, very important. And we talked about the sources of the maqasid and the qawaid. it's Quran and Sunnah and the Ijma' and Amal al-Sahaba. If you put all of this together and you start, what's practically the Prophet ﷺ protect first, how he react in this or that situation. Why Sulh al-Hudaybiyah? Sulh al-Hudaybiyah is very important occasion to understand what's the priority in the mind of the Prophet ﷺ. Why he want to choose the peace at that moment, because he didn't fear a danger for the deen. But in Badr he chose to fight, and Uhud. So Uhud he didn't choose, but the young people choose. But in Badr clearly he chose to fight. In Uhud, in Hudaybiyah, he said, no, we're not going to fight, we're going to accept the treaty. Because there is no fear for the deen. Islam is spreading, Islam already is solid, and there is no fear. So he doesn't have fear that Islam is going to be. So there is no need to sacrifice in nafs because the deen is established. So he chose to protect the nafs in Sulh al-Hudaybiyah. We're not going to fight because there is risk that we're going to lose people. This is see, and every situation why Rasul ﷺ he took this decision based in what priority for him. It's very complicated methodology, but without doubt the scholars, the great scholars who do this follow many.
I just remember the dalil from Quran is protection of life. I think وَكَفَى اللَّهُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ شَرَّ الْقِتَالِ.
But ولا تقتلوا أنفسكم إن الله كان بكم رحيما.
What about jihad? If we talk about jihad in
Yeah.
this.
Jihad, this is the jihad come. This is what exactly jihad as a tool.
It's gonna die when you jihad.
This is why the choice. If there is Rasulullah, for example, if there is people that are going to come and occupy our land, that's why some people said we have to need darurat or the protection of the freedom. Rasulullah he made hijrah because of the freedom. He خلوا بيني وبين الناس. So if there is people who going to come to occupy us, and the obligation, as the ayat said yesterday, وقاتلوا الذين يقاتلونكم ولا تعتدوا. So the qital, or the big difference between jihad and qital. Jihad is big. You can make jihad. Being here, you make jihad. Learning, al-ilm is jihad, right? So you are here, you spending, you make juhd, you make effort for the sabilillah. You are jihad. But form of jihad is al-qital. Qital is the fighting fi sabil, in the sake of the truth, in the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the qital come here, or the jihad come as a tool to protect this. Sometimes you make jihad to protect your nafs. Sometimes you make jihad, qital, to protect your wealth. Sometimes you to protect your dignity, like the lady who said, "Ya mu'tasaman." She called, she been mistreated, Muslim lady. And the mu'tasam, she called wa mu'tasaman. Miles and miles away from the mu'tasam, billah. He prepared a whole army to go and to protect this lady. In meaning it's because she's a symbol of the dignity that's being taken. So sometimes the ruling based in the ijtihad, what is necessary. When you feel really there is some of this maqasid is going to be destroyed, is not protection, then you use the qital as a tool. Okay, and inshallah, so this is the protection of the deen. We talk about it. Protection, can you if you go to the next, inshallah. Protection of the deen, protection of the nafs, we talk about this. Protection of the man, protection of the aql. Okay. Dignity or whatever. Okay. Okay. Now we go to the al-hajiyat. After we talked about the daruriyat, and we have inshallah next week we talk about al-hajiyat and explain it and try to understand. To encourage everybody, go for daruriyat al-khams, read more and educate yourselves about this daruriyat. This is the most important part of the deen. It's al-daruriyat, and we go after that for hajiyat inshallah and tahsiniyat in the end, so we can understand all the rulings. So give me one of the rulings, conclude with this, that it's fit in the daruriyat. You gave the hudud, all the hudud to protect something. This is very good. Say haddu sariqa to protect the man. Haddu sariqa, the ruling of the stealing, the purpose it is. The hadd of the zina also is to protect the ird. Hadd of the qatl al-nafs, killing. There is a ruling in Islam about al-qisas, al-nafsu bil-nafs, al-nafsu bil-nafs. There is a ruling about the khamr, shurb al-khamr, because the khamr or the wine or alcohol, it led to losing your reasoning, and this is one of the hudud. So this is one of the. Is there any other rulings in Islam that fit in this 5 category of daruriyah?
Because the snow, we did not come for the prayer. Isn't that protection of like harming ourselves? Isn't there like some ruling?
Yeah, for example, if there is dangers for coming to the masjid, there is a hadith, صلوا في رحالكم, pray where you are. You don't have to come because of the mud. So what's the purpose? It's to protect. This is a ruling. Very good. There is ruling of tayammum. Tayammum is to protect كذلك also nafs. Is there is any other ruling that you think that go for protecting al-mal?
Well, for kids.
Any ruling, yeah. Give any ruling and connect it with this maqasid. Ruling here halal or haram things. Any lot. For the male, for example, is the monopoly, ihtikar. There is a hadith about it. It's haram in Islam. من منع طعاما على قوم 40 يوما دخل النار. Whoever الربا, very good. تحريم الربا, it's to protect the wealth of the people. Any other ruling? Give me one ruling and connect it with one of the ضروريات. نفس العرض العقل.
شيخ النسل حتى نتناسل الزوج لازم يكون عندهم اطفال، يعني يمكن يكون ينجبوا اطفال. تفهموا يعني. هذه
So what's the encouraging of the takathur?
Probably abstinence and marriage, the way of protection of nestle. That's why we don't have anything outside those really.
Relation outside of the gender and all of these things. And very good. Any other things? Dignity or any rulings? There is a lot of rulings, especially in mu'amalat. Unfortunately, most of the fiqh, it's about ibadat, it's not about mu'amalat. If you open the door of mu'amalat, Allahu Akbar, you'll find everything fit in one of this. Especially when you go the economy and how the business running, the concept of the sharika, what to do, what's permissible, what's not permissible, all of this come. It's not permissible to sell the fish on the ocean. Take your sale. Okay, this is a pond. It has a lot of fish in it. Give me $10 and take 10 fish from there. The fish is not in your hand. You know, there is some ruling. If it's for exercise, it's okay, but it's for selling things. You cannot, or al-thamar, the fruit before it's come.
Huh? What is
Kharrasun?
The one who say, oh, this $10.
And of course, all form of riba and it's so every ruling connected with one. May Allah bless you. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Please remember these 5. Memorize them. Are very important to memorize them. And we have, I give you paper in Arabic and in English. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. جزاكم الله خير والسلام عليكم. الله يبارك.
الله أكبر الله أكبر